morning. I'd like to present to you
The biotechnology class at Salt Lake Community College has prepared me to work in many aspects of the business.
Students gain experience in a real GMP biomanufacturing environment.
This is the high-speed tip.
At Salt Lake Community College, in a program called Student Factured, students create, manufacture, market, and sell biotech products.
We have products on an online website.
I will go back to the website if I need any more.
Okay.
This contract manufacturing organization prepares them to be productive, efficient workers for the biotech industry.
It's a different mindset trying to produce a product for customers, so it's kind of given me the business and the science experience at the same time.
Instead of each doing the 3.
Today, students audit each other and discuss quality assurance and regulatory affairs.
And I think we have a lot of stuff to talk about.
They share thoughts on improving processes of their plasmid manufacturing.
For some reason, they didn't show anything, so.
Oh, hey, what's up?
I don't know, just thinking about the project. Should we talk about it a little bit? I think we had some stuff to work on.
Yeah, we got some stuff to clear up.
Okay.
Their interaction with the program is a little bit more like it might be with a company as opposed to a classroom. They feel empowered to find real solutions to real problems. That's pretty smart, actually. Becca came up with a color coding system related to the MIDI prep that shows exactly what component you need to be grabbing at what step.
A lot of those things we'd never seen before in our lives were like, what's this one called and what's it shaped like? And we would have to go through and say, no, I think that's it, and have to remember what packaging it's in. And there are pictures of everything and the colors that they're assigned to.
You're not afraid to bring up potential improvements to the company. When you're not afraid, really, that's where truest innovation comes from.
This is a good example of supporting line clearance. That's a term that the FDA uses a lot. Any point where you could accidentally grab the wrong thing is a point when you want to have really good line clearance.
I feel really good about that improvement because even though it seems super easy, it has been beneficial.
I kind of have been the only one that's used it since you fixed it up with the color coding.
I thought it was going to be really effective, but I don't know if it would be good to implement on the rest of the work instruction documents.
I think we just need more data, run it through a couple more times. What I love too are the Kaizen practices we use. That's what I want to see in my future business, just that continuous improvement. None of the employees are afraid to make a change or speak up for the benefit of the company.
Our Kaizen card system is sort of like a suggestion box.
You write down your idea, your name, how you would implement it, and then you submit it. And I think a lot of companies should think about doing that because, who doesn't want to continuously improve?
That's considered one of the wastes in lean manufacturing is not utilizing the talent of your people. The Kaizen card system is a great system because it empowers employees to make suggestions.
I've also kind of noticed that we've been running out of some reagents in the lab and tips, and when we see something like that, we should always go and try to write it up on the board or see if it's up on the board, so that way we know what needs to get done.
So I was trying to think of something easier for us to follow. I also have to think of the people that I work with because it's probably going to be easy for me to stick to it. But when it comes to them, I don't know, it might seem too complicated, it might seem too much of a bother, they might just not want to do it.
Yeah, we might also need to talk to Celia or Brandon for when we've just been spending maybe 10, 15 minutes just going around trying to find the materials that should be at the lab benches.
We go through all this trouble to organize everything and make everything very labeled. And yet, they come to us and ask, where's this, where's that? And I'm like, everything's labeled. I think it's wise to go around and open every single cabinet just to see what's in there. Those kind of problems are definitely real-world experience. I hope I'm never a supervisor. It's too much of a headache.
Managing the communications between our team members definitely is a challenge. I think mostly try and communicate in a nice way, make sure things aren't taken the wrong way or out of context is really important. But also, you have to have a well-written lab book to be able to communicate what you want them to do. And that's where we write our procedures and to say, do this procedure. I've already written out exactly what you need to do. I'm learning things about FDA regulations, how to keep track of lab books accurately. That's something that I really struggled with when I first started the internship. Actually, one of our supervisors told me it was the worst lab book he'd ever seen, which is kind of sad.
The students come in and they say, well, wait a second, it would alleviate a lot of communication problems if I were to write the lab book in a standard way. And I say, well, I have something for you. We have good documentation practices that the FDA provides us with that you can use.
With Chloe's help, I've actually improved quite a bit in that area, and I feel like that's, something really important to manufacturers out there because they're subject to the FDA where academic research and things are not.
Because there's 3 of you working, right, in one order, and it's so easy to be confused, right?
Yeah, no. Very important to keep track of the lot number. Say there's any problems, we're able to track the product, see what went wrong, if a problem does arise.
If something's wrong with this product, we say, well, what's the lot number? What's that number on the item? We're able to trace that number all the way back to any of those materials used, to who put the kit together, who purified the plasmid before the kit was put together, who cultured the bacteria before it was purified. If there's any issues, we're able to come up with a root cause a lot sooner.
So is your plasmids already diluted?
Not yet. I just wrote down the concentration for the PM, so I can do that.
Having to perform audits gives them a reason to make sure that the science is good, make sure that the science is documented, and I think that it really reinforces their background knowledge of the different concepts.
Okay, so that'd be good for the line clearance, make sure there's no mistaken
Right.
jobs or anything
because
like that.
we don't want to send people the wrong product.
Instead of just doing a procedure, now they're thinking, well, how is this employee able to make the product that they're supposed to? How is this product meeting specification? Is the employee, supported by this instruction? Is the instruction clear?
So do you find doing the labels first is very helpful in making sure you keep your product straight?
Yeah, I think that would be helpful because then it would be easier for you to separate your tubes out.
The auditing is kind of watching and trying to catch mistakes that we do or catch the good things that we do and that we should keep doing. It gives you like a good view from someone else's perspective of yourself. So that way you can think, oh, this is what I was doing wrong. Like, do I do this wrong often?
I usually use tape to label, like under a couple of tubes. But I don't know, since these are all PAMP, I think it's easy to keep track of.
There are still some gaps in our procedures, but the auditing kind of helped point it out and get it written down on a piece of paper so we know now, like, this needs to be done because this does not comply with FDA regulations.
So did you guys figure out your math?
Since it's the conversion between micrograms and nanograms, I'm going to times it by 1,000.
That's good.
So
in a real company, you will probably get audited by the FDA. You are required to have a standard protocol to follow.
So you guys performed audits. So what did you guys put for the regulations and standards?
GMP, good manufacturing process, very important.
GMPs, for sure, definitely.
It shows me what it really takes to produce something on the ground floor. You have all your quality control, quality assurance, and what it takes to make sure the product is proper in terms of federal regulations.
What do we have as student-factured that says that we comply with 820? What's our quality management system?
We have batch records, we have the WIDs.
What about non-conformances?
Things that were not in the SOP, you call them deviations.
I have a question though. What if it's best to not conform? For example, since Brandon's been using the gels a lot and he noticed a problem with Cyber Green, how we shouldn't use the premix because it runs differently in the ladder, would we still go with the WID because that's good practice, or would it be best to change it right then and there?
If you're deviating from something in the moment that your supervisor said, oh, well, it's a pre-approved deviation and you're doing it, then you could make note of that, like on the batch record, and then explain.
I've gotten an introduction to the guidelines I would have to follow if I were to manufacture my own product.
Brent and I were talking about how he uses a flask, I use a meter bottle. We came up with the idea that on the WID or SOP, we can put some things like, we suggest that you use this, basically, like, it's not mandatory. I mean, if you can probably do it in the beaker if you want,
You want to use your best judgment, and that's the thing that you'll see in terms of regulations is, what can I justify? What can I defend?
Yeah.
Every time they improve something that'll stick around, when they leave, those things are still there. leaving that legacy behind for future generations to sort of build off of. And even though that they'll be off doing any of the amazing things that they'll be doing, they'll still have something behind.